Raffia, 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 Raffia. Hey there and welcome to the Totally Fierce Crochet channel. My name's Thomas and in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to make this super fun and super cute raffia bucket hat made with the double crunch stitch. I had so much fun freestyle crocheting my raffia boho bag, so I thought, why not use the leftover yarn to make another freestyle crochet project? And this is what I created, the raffia bucket hat. You can make it really fast, only a few rounds, and you can perfectly use our double crunch stitch from the Battle of the Stitches. And it's a cute and fun piece, especially for hot days like today, to get enough shade while being out there in the sun. So are you ready for another freestyle raffia project? Let's go! I had so much fun freestyle crocheting my beautiful raffia bag, so I was like, how about we make another freestyle crochet project so I can use up my raffia leftover yarn. This is what I have left. And I'm super excited because I absolutely love freestyle crochet projects. If you don't know what that is, it's like creating something completely from scratch on the go. I have not made this piece before, so it's a premiere for me too, and I will just see how everything goes and record everything. So later on I have a tutorial for my channel and you can make the piece as well. So my personal task is now to create a bucket hat with raffia yarn. I'm going to start with the ivory white. And then we go from the top part to the sides. I'm going to make the double crunch part with the blue, as if there would be like blue waves around my head. And then for the front part or the lower part of the bucket hat, I'm going to use the Sahara, what was it? Desert palm. It's the same like the Sahara, to finish the bag. And as a reference, I'm going to take this raffia hat. Probably can't see it. I'm going back a little bit. That I bought a few years ago. I think it was TK Maxx or something like this. And it fits me okay, so I'm just going to use this as a general base for the measurements, but that's pretty much everything I'm going to use. And let's not waste any time and just dive in. So I'm going to start with the ivory white, and we will start with a magic ring. So I do as if I would do a slip knot and then take my end yarn, pull it through this loop, close the slip knot, and here we go. It works, of course, also with raffia. The only thing where we have to be careful is to not later on drag too much on the yarn to close the magic ring, because I had this while I was making the granny square hearts, that the yarn snapped and then I had to save it so that it wouldn't fall apart. So we are going to be extra careful with this. And in this magic ring, we are going to make, I don't know, 16 double crochets is like the normal double crochet square, but let's just make 14. So it's a little bit less, and this should still be a square, but let's see how that goes. So we first go in the magic ring, grab the yarn, pull it through. 2 loops, yarn over, and pull through 2. And then we go in the front bar, yarn over, pull it through to start with a fake double crochet. And now I need 13 double crochets more. So yarn over, go in the magic ring, grab the yarn, pull it through, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2, 12 more, and here we go, 14 double crochets. So now I'm going to close the magic ring, and I will do it as soft as I can, and I will most probably also leave just a little bit to then later on sew it a little bit together, because I'm really scared that it might snap. And now we are closing the round, and we are closing the round by releasing the hook or releasing the loop from the hook, and then we go into the back loop of our fake double crochet, and we will just pull that through, and then we can start. In round number 2 we are going to increase every stitch, so we are going to make 2 double crochets into each of the previous double crochets. And now I go in the front of my fake double crochet and make a fake double crochet on top first, and then increase the same stitch by making another double crochet. And this I will do all around, and I will meet you once my stitch count is at 28. And here we go. Now we close the round the same way like we had it before. I will just make a little bit of room, and we release the loop and then go in the back loop, pull it through, and then we go back, because now we are continuing increasing, and we will increase every second stitch. So in the end we have 42 stitches, and of course we start with the fake double crochet, and then we go into the next stitch, and here we do an increase, and after that we have just 1 stitch in the next, and I'll meet you at the end of this round. And here we go. We are just going to increase, I think maybe 2 or 3, let's see, probably 2 to 3 rounds. So in the next round we are going to increase every third stitch, sorry, and then after that every 4th stitch all along. And let's say I will meet you after the next 2 rounds, so we can see if we would need more or if we can start with the sides. So here we are. It's my 5th round, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I now have 70 stitches. To be quite honest, I have no idea if this will be enough. Maybe. I'm really curious, but it looks like it. If you could see me now, you would see me clueless. I mean, I could test it, or I just make, just to be sure, 1 more round, but I will not increase. Usually we would now increase the 5th stitch. Maybe I will just increase the 7th stitch, for example, just so that it like flats out, and maybe then I will also see when I put it on my head if this works or not. So I'll probably do that. So I'm going to add another round of double crochets, and I will increase every 7th stitch. Let's see how that goes. And here we go. I think this wasn't the worst idea, because now at least I have like a little bit of a rounding. And a placemat, for example. It's quite pretty actually. And now we are going to add the blue and our first crunch round. And we do it like I did it in my previous tutorials. We will now go from the back to the front and place the loop over our hook and then pull it to the back, pull the yarn tight, and let's grab the blue over the hook and pull it through the loop. And now I'm going to tighten up the white yarn, and now I'm going to turn, take my working yarn to the back, and I will take this yarn end with me for a little bit. And here's our first stitch, and now we can start our double crunch pattern. The first up is the slip stitch, and then we have the double crochet, and then the slip stitch again, and the double crochet always in repeat. And now for this next slip stitch, I'm also going to take my yarn end and pull it through. Now I just have to find it, where it is. Is it this one? It is. So when we then come back, we will then just incorporate it. And like this, I will go on until I then change back to white. And this is basically what I will continue until I have the height of my head, always alternating blue double crunch rounds and white all double crochet rounds. And I will meet you at the end of this round to show you how to switch back to white, because we are not cutting the yarns. Since we have like a hat with an inside, we will just take the yarn with us. I'm too lazy today to cut the yarn all the time, so we do have like a little bridge on the inside of our hat, but that's okay. And I'll meet you once I made my 80 rounds or 80 stitches of the double crunch pattern. So I'm at the end of the round, and apparently I made a little mistake, but I'm just going to ignore this. And I will leave the blue yarn behind, because usually this stitch here shouldn't be here. So what I'm going to do is to connect it anyway, even though there's this one stitch, because when I now drag it together, then this gap will be gone. And I take my blue yarn to my front, and then I go into the first stitch and pull the loop over my hook, pull it through, pull the blue tight, and you see the gap is gone, miraculously gone. And then I take my white yarn and put it over the hook and through the loop. Then I'm going to tighten up the blue again, because then we can continue, and our next round is a full double crochet round, and let's see where we start. Right here in the top of this previous double crochet with a slip stitch, with a single crochet, then in the front bar and fake double crochet, and then we do double crochets all across before we then switch to blue. And as I mentioned, I will do this for as long as I have to do it until I have the height of my bucket hat, and then we will continue with the front panel. I have no idea how this is called, the flap around the hat. And this is then where I'll meet you, and then I can also tell you how many rounds it took me to get there. So have fun and see you in a little bit. Just a little heads up, here's how it looks so far. I just put it over my head, and what can I say? I probably should have put a few more increases. So I'm going to start frogging until I reach this row, the last double crochet row, where I just increased every 7th stitch, and then I will go back, and here we had the 14, 28, here was every 2nd, every 3rd, every 4th, and then here I will do every 5th, and I just hope that this will be then enough with a little bit of stretching to get the right size, but that's always, of course, the risk when you do things completely freestyle. So I'm going to frog this and start the side parts over. So I will see you later. So here's where I am. I now have made the side, and I think it looks super pretty, just like I expected it to be. And of course, it's a little bit buckety. If you want to use it as a basket, you can use it, of course, as a basket. That's absolutely fine. But I think that's the nature of these kind of hats. And now I will start with the border, the brim. I have no idea. And of course I will use this, and I'm actually quite happy to now cut the ivory white and the blue yarn, because if you're working with raffia and these kind of skeins, they all look great like this, but after a while, and especially towards the end, it's a little bit like this, so it definitely has a life of its own. And at some point, if you don't use a yarn spool or yarn winder, you will end up with a big mess of paper yarn, but that's okay. So now I will just cut my yarn. I'm going to leave a little bit just in case. And as you can see, I now had like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 crunch rounds, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the sides with the regular double crochet. It's still quite flexible, and I think that with all the holes from the double crochets, this will also help, especially in summer, and it is super hot today, to keep a cooler hat. And now we start with the rim, the side. And for the rim, we will only work double crochets, so no more the double crunch patterns or double crunch stitches. So we do basically the same like we had it in the beginning. And for this first round, we are only going to work in our front loops only. But first, let's attach the new yarn just like we had it before. And what we are also going to do is to alternate increasing rounds and regular rounds. So as you can recall, our last increase here was in every 5th stitch. So now we are doing it in every 6th stitch across. And after that, it's a regular round, but of course I will show you. So we start the first round of the rim by going into the front loop only. And this is where we are going to place our first stitch. And of course, this is going to be a fake double crochet like that. We can, if we want to, incorporate the yarn end already, so we don't have to bother about it later. And then we go along, always in the front loops with double crochets. Where's the yarn? Here. 3, 4, 5. And now the 6th stitch is our increase. So in the 6th stitch, we make 2 double crochets. And this we do all the way to the end. So this was the first round, and you can already see that it goes out a little bit more. And now we close the round, just like we did it before with all the other ones. We go in the top of our fake double crochet and then just take the loop through, close it. And now we are going to make 1 full round of double crochets, and then afterwards another increase where we increase every 7th stitch. And once I have this, I will see you back to see if it's enough, or if we would have to do another round. Have fun. So here I am. I actually made a 4th round without any increases. So the first one was an increase of every 6th stitch. The second round was 1 full round of just double crochets. Then we had a round where I increased every 7th stitch. And then the last one was just a regular round. And by putting that into the back loop, we have like the rim or the brim that goes a little bit up. And now I will just finish it up by making 1 final round of single crochets all along, just to like give it a little bit of structure on the border. It's mainly a visual thing, and after that we can then start cleaning everything up and sewing in all the yarn ends. And then I will give you my final recommendations if you want to make yourself such a raffia bucket hat. But I think overall it looks quite fun, and let's just finish it. So I will make a single crochet into each of the stitches, just as a little border around it. And I'll meet you at the end to finish it off with an invisible finish. And I'll see you then. And this was our last stitch. We can now cut the yarn off, and I will also take it through. Now we take the yarn needle and we go to our first stitch right here, because we are basically filling the gap in between those two. Normally I would have done like another single crochet right in here, but I'm going to keep it like this, and then I will take my yarn needle from the front, pull it through, and I will now shift it that this space here is almost like the width of our other single crochets, and then we go into our last stitch only in the back loop, and as you can see, we now connected them. You can drag on the yarn a little bit so that they have the same size, and then we go to the back and we will just lock it in. And then we go along the single crochets, which is also then awesome to have the single crochets there, because I think those are the best stitches to hide yarn ends. And since raffia is like very much stable, I will just go a few stitches back. So you don't have to sew in that much. And then just cut the yarn, because you can always press it to flatten it out, for example. And now let's go to our other yarn ends. First up, I'm going to take care of my magic ring from the beginning. As I mentioned, we cannot drag on the yarn that much to close it. So what I'm going to do is to like just go along and just secure it. And I will also drag only a little bit. Again, don't drag too much, because otherwise the paper will snap. But by going along a few of those stitches, we can then close the gap a little bit, at least. And now it's almost completely closed, and just a few more to keep everything where it should be. And then of course just cut it. And let's see here, the one we already crocheted over, I will just lock it in by going back just a few more stitches. And here we go, my very first raffia bucket hat. Here's how it looks. And then you can, of course, flip it over. I think it looks just super funny. And here are some recommendations if you want to make yourself a raffia bucket hat. First up, make sure to not drag on the beginning magic ring too tight. You can always use a chain 4 and then connect to the very first chain element to then work your double crochets into the chain ring. Then what I would do is probably increase or make my first row of double crunch right in between those two increases. mainly because the border gets like very sharp, as you can see here. So it definitely makes sense to do the first double crunch part when we are still increasing and then go down. And I would definitely take care of the amount of increases. I would rather have like probably one row less and then go out to the sides. But this is really individual how you like to wear your bucket hats. And probably the last recommendation would be to make the rim, the brim, the border a little bit wider. So something like this, and this part here a little bit smaller so that it doesn't get too big. But besides that, I mean, for me, this is really like a fun piece that you could wear on the beach or when you are sitting in the garden reading a book or crocheting, for example. And then you have something to cover your head a little bit from the sun. And that's basically the only use for it that I can see, but of course you can wear it all day. And in addition, also make sure that raffia is not that soft like regular yarn or wool. So if you want to line it on the inside where it touches your head, you can do so. I don't think it's that uncomfortable, to be honest, when you wear it. Surprisingly, you might think that it would be like a little bit hard, but it's actually quite soft on the inside because the roughly part, the harder part, is definitely our outside. But besides that, I think it's a super cool piece, and let's make one and wear one. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed getting to know how to make this super fun raffia bucket hat. Of course, you can wear it like this, over the ears, under the ears, however you want to wear it, or just like this while being out there in the sun crocheting maybe a little bit. Anyway, have fun, enjoy the summer, but beware of the sun, wear a bucket hat. And of course, I hope to see you back again next time, only at the Totally First Crochet channel. And until then, happy crocheting. Bye. Protect yourself from the sun. Bye. The stupid church bells are ringing again.